ransom for many. Sacrifice, giving of yourself for others. I want to stop and tell you a story real quick about sacrifice. Probably the best leader that I've ever been around for an extended period of time was Coach Osborne at the University of Nebraska. He's my hero. We were in a team meeting room just like this when I was a junior in college. It was 1996. And usually in these meetings, most of us would be asleep like some of you are going to be at the end of my speech, because Coach Osborne would sit there with his clicker and play video for us. And we're watching offense and watching our practice and watching our practice and watching our practice, then watching a videotape of the next opponent we're playing. And back then, he used to make me audible based on the front. And if they're an over front, I check this. If they're under front, I check this. If the nose is on the right and the three techniques on the left, I check this. And it just ad nauseum, he would sit there and ask me questions. What are you going to check here, Scott? 34 trap and 11 base, coach. Good. What are you going to check here? 48 counter trap and 32 option, coach. Good. And I could do it in my sleep, honestly. And half the time I did because I was asleep in the auditorium. So one day in particular, we're sitting and watching all this video, and it was out of character for him, although he was always teaching us stuff, and we didn't really know it as a great leader. And he stopped the tape in the middle of our meeting, and he said, I want you all to take out a pen and a paper. So if you got a pen and a paper, take it out. He asked us this. He said, write down on that piece of paper, if you could trade places with any one person in the world for a day, who you'd trade places with. So we all did it. And he went back to the video, and we watched for another 5 or 10 minutes. We watched more 32 option pass and 11 option pass, turn back, 1 protect, whatever. These are all plays from 97. He stops again, and he goes around the room and he asks us, kind of picks us out and asks us who we wrote down on the paper. So back then it was Puff Daddy, Michael Jordan, Emmitt Smith got some, Hugh Hefner got some. You can imagine what a room full of 19 and 20-year-old boys were thinking about when you said, who can I trade places with for a day? That's awesome. I can have all that money. I can have all that fame. You know what Hugh Hefner had. So we all thought it was funny. Just like this, we all thought it was funny, and why would Coach Osborne do that? Back to the tape, and he's playing more football, and he stops again and says, take out that piece of paper and pen again. Now I want you to write down the name of the person that you respect the most in this world. Back to the tape, we're watching, and then he went back around the room again, and he asked us who it was. And it was always Mom, my mother, my father, my pastor, my coach, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln. And this was the end of the meeting. He said, let me ask you a question. I asked you 10 minutes ago to write down the name of the person you want to trade places with the most in the world. And I got Biggie Smalls, Michael Jordan, and Hugh Hefner. Then I asked you who you respect the most in the world. And I got your mom, your dad, your pastor. He asked us why we picked those people. And really it came down to this, because the people that everybody said they respected the most in the world were the people that would give anything for them. My mom, because she sacrificed for me. My dad, because he would have given me the shirt off my back. My pastor, because he cares more about me than he even does himself. Unwavering commitment to me was the reason. Sacrificing for me was the reason that we wrote those people down. So we finished the meeting by saying this. He said, let me ask you this. If that's the person you respect the most in the world, why did you want to trade places with the other person? Are you trying to be like the person that you respect the most in the world? Or are you trying to be like the person that you envy? Are you trying to be like the person that sacrifices for you and you respect? Or are you trying to be like the person that has a little bit more than you have? He said, we need to be spending our time being like your father, like your mother, like your pastor. And the reason you respect them is because they'll do anything for someone else. It's a lesson. That's not made up story. That's true. He did that in 1996. I remember it to this day, verbatim to this day, because it changed me. I do it with my team now. But sacrifice. If you want to be great at anything, you sacrifice. You give of yourself for other people. As a leader of Nebraska's football program, I don't see myself as the pinnacle of that university and that athletic department. I see myself as a servant of the players and the other coaches to try to help them be the best they can be. That's what any great leader is. I set the direction, I set the tone, but at the end of the day, I give of myself to try to make everybody around